I'm just going to say it straight. NASCAR may have a bigger problem in Victory Lane than anybody wants to admit. Because what happened to Connor Zilisch at Watkins Glen International? That wasn't just some funny blooper clip people replayed on social media. That was scary. And here's the thing. If his fall had gone even slightly differently, we could have been talking about something way worse than a broken collarbone. Stick with me here, because the more drivers talk about these close calls, the more you realize this is happening way more often than fans actually know. Drivers slipping off roofs, sliding on window nets, almost falling backwards off cars, losing footing on fence climbs, even blacking out after celebrations. And somehow, NASCAR's wildest tradition, the Victory Lane celebration, has quietly become one of the most dangerous moments of race weekend. Now, obviously, nobody wants drivers to stop celebrating. Kevin Harvick said it best after the Zilisch crash, "Don't get bland on us and boring." And honestly, he's right, because those moments are what make NASCAR emotional. Raw, human. The fence climbs, the roof stands, the screaming crews, the burnout smoke. That's the heartbeat of the sport. But after hearing all these drivers tell their stories, you start realizing just how close NASCAR has come to disaster more than once. And hey, real quick, if you are a true NASCAR fan like me, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation News is just getting started. We are pushing for our next subscriber milestone, and it's all about real talk from fans who live this sport every week. All right, let's get into it. So let's rewind this for a second. Connor Zilisch wins at Watkins Glen International. Huge moment. Young superstar, massive pressure, big celebration, and then suddenly, boom. He slips while climbing out of the car because the window net was sitting on the sill, loses his footing, falls hard, gets briefly knocked unconscious, and breaks his collarbone badly enough that he misses the Cup race the very next day. Think about that. A driver survives one of the fastest road courses in America only to get hurt after the checkered flag. That's insane. Now, to Connor's credit, he's laughing about it now. He joked recently saying, "Hopefully this time around I can win and not fall off my car in Victory Lane." And honestly, that's probably the best way to handle it. Because if you don't laugh about something like that eventually, it'll haunt you forever. But what shocked me most about this story wasn't even Connor's accident. It was how many other drivers immediately admitted, "Yeah, I've almost done that too." That's when this story changed, from one weird moment to a legit conversation about NASCAR culture. Christopher Bell straight up admitted he's done standing on doors because drivers look wobbly up there, and he's right. Go back and watch Victory Lane clips. Some of these guys are balancing like they're standing on ice skates. Those door tops are narrow, the roofs are curved, everything's covered in rubber, dirt, fluids, confetti, and adrenaline. And adrenaline changes everything. Daniel Suarez explained it perfectly. He said when drivers win, they feel invincible, like Superman. And honestly, that may be the most important quote in this entire discussion. Because these guys have just spent 3 or 4 hours driving at ridiculous speeds with their heart rates through the roof. Then suddenly they jump out of the car while exhausted, emotional, dehydrated, and completely wired with adrenaline. That's not exactly the safest mental state for climbing onto a slippery race car. Kyle Busch even admitted he slipped once climbing onto the roof and only saved himself because his hand caught the roof edge. One bad angle there, that's a nasty fall. Cole Custer said he's actually done almost the exact same thing Connor did. Fell off at Kentucky, fell again at Homestead. Ty Gibbs said he literally landed flat on his back after Atlanta and just sat there pretending he was okay. Bubba Wallace joked that he had 1% more athleticism than Connor when he almost lost balance at Indy. Ryan Blaney admitted there were moments he had to find his footing fast on the roof before things got ugly. And then you've got Chase Briscoe talking about falling off a sprint car after a fist pump and landing directly on his tailbone. Now imagine doing that after a Cup race in front of thousands of fans and national cameras. That's brutal. But here's where this gets even more interesting. Some drivers are already changing how they celebrate. Christopher Bell says he's done standing on doors. Kyle Larson says he avoids cage stands entirely in sprint cars because the fall risk is too high. And Larson's point really matters, because if elite drivers, guys who literally control race cars for a living, are saying, "Yeah, this might not be worth it," then NASCAR probably has to start paying attention. Not because celebrations are bad, not because fans want less emotion, but because the risk is clearly real. And Todd Gilliland said something that honestly stuck with me. He said after Connor's crash, everybody in the garage started watching drivers climb out of cars more carefully. That tells you everything, because drivers know danger. They live danger every week. And when they suddenly notice something, that means it got serious. Now look, NASCAR has always been built on toughness. Drivers celebrate through injuries all the time. Austin Dillon literally talked about throwing up after his Nashville celebration because he knocked the breath out of himself doing a grass slide. Tyler Reddick joked about Victory Lane doing damage to his liver instead. That's racing culture. That's part of the fun. But there's a line between entertaining chaos and unnecessary risk. And I think NASCAR is approaching one of those weird crossroads because fans love these moments. Nobody wants sanitized corporate celebrations. Nobody wants drivers politely waving from the ground like they just won a golf tournament. That's not NASCAR. Fans want emotion, fence climbs, roof stands, burnouts, beer showers, pure chaos. But the problem is, one truly catastrophic accident changes the conversation forever. That's the uncomfortable reality. And honestly, Connor Zilisch may have accidentally exposed a vulnerability NASCAR never really thought about before. Not the racing itself, the aftermath, the celebration, the one moment where drivers let their guard down. Because during the race, they're laser focused. After the race, that's when instinct takes over. That's when fatigue hits. That's when adrenaline explodes. That's when mistakes happen. And what makes this even crazier is how many drivers admitted they've slipped on the exact same areas. The window net, the door edge, the sloped roof, the side rails. That means this isn't random, it's repeatable. And whenever something dangerous becomes repeatable in motorsports, eventually somebody starts asking if changes are needed. Now, personally, I do not want NASCAR celebrations watered down. I agree with Kevin Harvick. Don't make this sport boring. But maybe there's a smarter middle ground. Maybe better grip surfaces. Maybe redesigned window net placements. Maybe safer footing areas on the next-gen cars. Because if the drivers themselves are all basically saying, yeah, we've all nearly eaten it up there, then clearly this isn't just bad luck anymore. And one final thing before we wrap this up, Connor Zilisch coming back and joking about the whole thing, that says a lot about his mentality. Most young drivers would probably become cautious after something like that. But instead, he's laughing about it and moving forward. That toughness? That's why so many people in the garage believe this kid is special. But still, NASCAR got lucky this time. Really lucky. Because a broken collarbone is one thing. A headfirst impact from the roof of a stock car? That could have changed everything. So now, I want to hear from you guys. Should NASCAR leave Victory Lane celebrations completely alone and let drivers celebrate however they want? Or do you think the sport needs to quietly make safety changes before somebody gets seriously hurt? Drop your thoughts down in the comments because this is one NASCAR fans are definitely going to debate. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like this video, subscribe to NASCAR Nation News, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest NASCAR drama, news, and real fan conversations.